Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa and I'm here to support you for the rest of your practice. Thanks for opening up this video. We'll begin class in a cross-legged position. So make your way into that seat. Sit bones on the floor. Those are the bones near your glutes. Anchoring there. Shifting some attention to your core. Your core will help support you as you lengthen your spine. And then relax your shoulders. Palms can rest on your knees, or backs of the hands can rest on your knees. Both create a different inner experience. If you're inviting a more subtle internal experience, I recommend closing your eyes. If you're working on some focus, I recommend keeping your gaze on one point across the floor or room. By practicing a steady gaze, we practice a steady mind. So when we tend to be very busy with our thoughts, our eyes tend to flicker left and right, up and down, thinking this or that. So you can practice that steady gaze. You can also practice a steady gaze inwardly. If your eyes are closed, you can gently raise your eyes towards that point between your eyebrows. And imagine where that point is. Slight lift to the gaze. Check in with your breath. No judgment of the breath. You're noticing what's there. See what feels comfortable, feel where there might be some discomfort. Give yourself permission to feel a range here. I'm not judging anything as good or bad. You're cultivating that skill of observing without judgment, noticing, and using that information to inform you as you're creating those bridges and those connections physically, mentally, emotionally. And perhaps in that next breath, a more intentional breath, we're lengthening the inhale and exhale a little longer than you're accustomed to. I like to recommend exhaling, sighing out a few times throughout the class. It helps build that bridge of the physical, mental, emotional body. As we exhale, sigh out, we notice that release that's physical, a release that's mental and emotional. It helps you kind of reset the body. So I recommend a couple of breaths where you sigh out. And notice that this can be incorporated into your yoga practice at any time. Intentional breath, lengthening your inhale. Lengthening exhale. We'll start to drop our chin towards our chest and just let our head hang here. You're noticing that stretch in the neck around the upper back. And then bring your head back to center. Now take your chin over that right shoulder and hold. And then opposite shoulder. Take your chin towards that direction. Focus on the sides of the neck here, the stretch here. Don't forget your breath. Bring your head back to center. Lift your chin up towards the ceiling, opening the throat. Bring your head back to center. Now neck rolls, dropping your chin towards your chest, half circle or full circle. Roll your head from one shoulder to the next, quickly or slowly. Go ahead and linger on any areas that feel a little tense or sore. We'll remain here quite a few number of breaths. If you feel a little bit more complete before we're technically over, you can always work on some meditation and bringing your head back to a point of stillness. Otherwise, a few breaths here, allow yourself to deepen, to release your sense of time, To release your to-do list, practice arriving to your body, noticing what's comfortable or uncomfortable. Three more breaths. We bring our head back to neutral. Generous breath, belly expands. Exhale, side out. Lift your arms up overhead. Let's extend through the elbows. Lengthen our arms. Palms are spread, facing up towards the ceiling. Around your spine, tuck your chin towards your chest. Palms towards the front of the room. To lengthen your elbows. You want that rounding of the spine, lower mid back, upper back. Release. Take your left hand to rest on to your right knee. Twist towards the right. Shift your chin towards your shoulder. Sit bones grounded on the floor, spine long. Use your grip on the knee to help intensify that twist. And then release. Opposite side, right hand towards that knee, twist towards the right. Inhale. Exhale. Come back to center. Bring both soles of the feet together. Fold. 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Drop your belly towards the floor. Elbows can rest in the creases behind your knees. Breathe into your boundary. Breathe into your flexibility here. Deep belly breath. And then release. We'll start to lengthen our left leg out in front. Press our right foot right against our thigh. Lengthen our spine. Flex our left foot. You can invite a little bend to your knee. Lead through your chest, your heart. Drop your belly towards the floor. Breathe into your hamstring. For an intense stretch, flex that left foot, or to soften the stretch, relax your left foot. Inhale. Exhale, release. Plant that right foot onto the floor. Take your left arm out. We're shifting into a twist. Hook your elbow onto your knee. Flex your left foot. Inhale here and exhale. Remain here. You're lengthening the spine. Chin is neutral. And I'm just noticing the light is not the best. You can start to shift out of the pose. And if you bear with me for just a moment as I adjust. Now you'll take your opposite foot out and your right foot out. Press that left heel right against your thigh. And then leading through your chest and your heart, go ahead and fold over. Breathe into your hamstrings. Notice that boundary. Breathe into that boundary. And again, I like to emphasize flexing the foot for more intense stretch. You're broadening your stretch into the calf and heels, or you can relax that foot and allow a softer stretch. Two more breaths. Once again, I apologize about that camera angle. And then release. Left foot onto the floor. Take your right arm out. You're going to hook your elbow right onto your knee. Twist towards the left. Inhale, exhale here. You can flex that right foot. Please lengthen your spine. Chin is neutral. And then release. Lengthen both legs out in front of you. A little bend to your knees and then fold down. Hands can reach anywhere. Thighs, shins, or toes. Deep belly breath. Breathe into your hamstrings, glutes, hips. And release. Now we'll shift into a very similar pose, our forward fold. This time we're standing. Notice a difference here where your legs are relaxed and now your legs are active. Now, as we're here in our forward fold, cup your elbows with your hands here. And then rock to the left, to the right. Now, practice releasing the torso, softening your neck, your head. And after a few moments there, release your hands and sweep your arms up overhead. Hands in front of your heart center here. Inhale. And exhale, eyes open or closed. Notice your palms touching, ground through your heels. Notice that type of breath that begins at the belly. And what I mean by that is you're noticing as you're inhaling, your belly expand. We tend to pay attention maybe around our chest, but we also want to broaden awareness of that breath at our belly. Inhale here. Exhale. Release your hands. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Active core here, release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Curl your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale here, exhale. Shift down into a plank pose, release down towards the floor. So ideally you're inhaling up into your upward facing dog, and now exhale into a downward facing dog. Breathe into your down dog, you're breathing into your hamstrings, placing weight on your palms, bringing your chest closer towards your thighs. Inhale and exhale. And then plank pose, hold your plank pose. When you find an exhale, release down towards the floor. Inhale up into an upward facing dog, exhale, down dog. So we're gonna start to create a flow, a rhythm. Gather your breath here, move with integrity. Next round, plank pose. Active core strength, glute strength, quad strength, and then release down towards the floor. Tops of the feet are on the floor, glutes are engaged. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Notice that extension from the base of the spine to the top. Exhale, use that upper core strength to help shift you up into your downward facing dog. 2 more times, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Next round, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's remain here in our down dog, breathing into our hamstrings. Notice a breath from the fingertips, up your spine, down to your toes. Inhale here. Exhale, take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, sweep your arms up overhead, gathering the energy of the day, taking it down to our heart center. Inhale here. Exhale, 2-legged balance here. Here we release our hands, lift our arms. So palms face up towards the ceiling here. You lift your heels halfway or all the way up. Hold. Keep your gaze steady and by an even breath. Sometimes we hold our breath in our balance. And then release your heels, interlace your fingers behind you, draw your shoulder blades closer together, open up your chest, take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Gently open throughout the lower back, gentle stretch in the abdomen. Exhale, fold down, forward fold, bend your knees, elbows extend behind you, neck and head are soft, remain here. Purposely bring your shoulder blades closer together. And now release your hands down to your shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening your neck and head. Second round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Third round, inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. This time we're going to roll up slowly. Head will come up last. This is a good practice of letting go. Slowly lift, mountain pose, 3 breaths, grounding through our breath. We inhale and exhale for the day we've had. This is a practice of slowing down, presencing, arriving to your body, building the bridge of the physical, mental, emotional body. We'll take another breath for this moment. And then take a breath for the rest of our day. Inhale. Exhale, release. We'll shift into a warrior 2. Let's take our left foot forward and then right leg will step back. There's a 90-degree bend to your knee. Your right foot is in a diagonal. Your hips naturally open here. We want our hips to be open in this pose. You're gonna take your left arm
and then your right arm behind you. They're parallel to the floor. Take your gaze across the view. Steady gaze, steady mind, very grounding pose. Glutes and quads are engaged. If your legs were these scissors attempting to close, they couldn't. They're grounded onto the floor. Your legs are active. Breathe from one fingertip to the opposite fingertip. Release any crunching around the shoulders. Shoulders are drawn down. Release that right hand right behind your thigh. Lift your left arm up. There's a stretch here in the lower back and the side body. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale. Exhale, release your elbow right on top of your thigh. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. Now lengthen that left knee. Drop your hand down towards your shin or all the way down towards the floor. You can take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold down. Both hands frame that left foot. Pivot that right foot. So now you're in a low lunge. And then lift that left arm up towards the ceiling. Optional if you want to release that right knee onto the floor. So you have the ability to do that. Inhale. Exhale, release your hand. Your choice, you can take your vinyasa or go straight to a downward facing dog. By vinyasa, I mean plank pose towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog, and then exhale, down dog. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Roll up slowly, head comes up last, arms dangle. Mountain pose. We take 3 centering breaths here in our mountain pose. That is your second cycle of breath. Feel free to exhale, sigh out. Take a third breath. Inhaling. Exhaling. Sighing out. Now we'll take our right foot forward, step our left leg back. Our right foot's in a 90-degree angle, left foot is in a diagonal. Arms are to a T, parallel to the floor. Take your gaze straight ahead of you, engage your glutes and quads, keep your gaze steady. A steady gaze is a steady mind. Release that left hand right behind your thigh. Lift your right arm up. Hold. Sit deeper into your hips. Open up the lower back and then back to center warrior 2. 1 breath. Inhale, exhale. And then just drop that elbow right on top of your thigh. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Either remaining here or extending that right leg. Hands can reach down to the shin, your shin, or all the way down towards the floor. Notice a breath that begins at the belly. And then take both hands down towards the floor. Bend that right knee, high lunge here. Pivot that left foot. Either keeping that left leg extended behind you, or you can release your knee onto the floor. Ground that left palm onto the floor. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. Lift that right hip by placing some weight on that right heel. Inhale. Exhale, release both hands onto the mat. Lift up, downward facing dog. Or take your vinyasa plank pose towards the floor. Inhale up. We meet in our downward facing dog. From our down dog, extend back into a plank pose. Hold your plank pose. Lift your core up towards the ceiling. Take an even breath. And then drop your knees down towards the floor. Drop your belly down towards the floor. And then 2 options. You can shoot your fingers behind you, draw your shoulder blades closer together, fine, and then lift. Or interlace your fingers. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Be gentle throughout your back. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Move at your own pace. And then on that fifth round, you want to remain lifted for a couple of extra breath cycles. Go ahead and do so. You can see where your endurance is. And then release your cheek onto the mat. And then very purposely practice softening the body, releasing your shoulders, the spine. And so you're also noticing the paradox where your body can be relaxed, yet you can still remain attentive, focused, and aware. So I recommend focusing on your breath. Now you can take that deep belly breath that you can when you're not on your belly, but do invite a comfortable breath and notice about 3 to 5 breath cycles consecutively. We're training our mind to focus, to cooperate with us, which is challenging, which once again, I'm always emphasizing, we're cultivating a practice, we're cultivating an ability. Simultaneously softening the body. Notice that influx of energy in the body. You've been moving a lot of energy physically, mentally, emotionally. You're creating that holistic connection through the breath. Three more breaths here. And then one more round, we'll start to shift back up, interlacing our fingers, drawing your shoulder blades together, or just shooting your fingertips behind you. 5 rounds, inhale up. Exhale, release. Second round, inhale up. Exhale, release. You're using your breath at inhale to find that shift, that lift, the power there to lift up, exhale, release. You're engaging your glutes to support you so you're not straining your back or the muscles running along your spine. Move into your third, fourth, and fifth round. Now, as you reach your fifth round, you're going to stay there an extra breath, 2, 3, 4, 5. It depends on what endurance you're working with, you want to explore. Once again, be mindful of lower back, mid back, upper back. So part of the benefits of these holistic yoga classes is that you have the opportunity to move slowly and more present with the body in order to prevent injury, or also to notice where there's been some previous injuries in your body so that you can tenderly and effectively work with that injury, moving slowly and presently with it. After you've reached that fifth round, holding that extra breath, 2, 3, or 4, or even 5, then you release the opposite cheek onto the floor. Once again, we're practicing that paradox, softening, relaxing the body, yet remaining attentive, focused, and aware. Notice your breath. Try to notice 3 to 5 consecutive breath cycles. Soften your body. You're noticing the effects of the portions in class, the portion of class which tends to be more active. And then notice when we're purposely softening, letting go, we also want to practice that experience. Notice your breath. Two more breaths. We inhale, exhale. And then you'll start to take your hands to frame your chest. We're going to lift up into an upward facing dog. Tops of the feet are on the floor. You're extending throughout the spine, shoulders slide down. Now you're using that upper core strength as you press through your palms, lift up into your downward facing dog. Breathe into your hamstrings. Go ahead and pedal your feet back and forth, allowing one hip to drop more than the other, bending one knee more generously than the other, back and forth, releasing around the hips and hamstrings. And then after you've taken a few moments there, inhale up into your cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose, tuck your chin towards your chest, separate your shoulder blades, move again, inhale. Lifting your tailbone, exhale, round your spine, move a couple of times at your own pace. Now, there's a natural inhale in your cow pose, a natural exhale in your cat pose, but feel free to breathe more breaths into one pose. In a cat pose, you can breathe into an inhale, exhale once again. If you're feeling you want to stay static with the pose, exploring it with the breath, you can do so. Start to release your cat and cow pose. Lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips, hold. Now round your spine, chin towards chest, chin and knee towards chest, press through your palms, and then release. Opposite side, lift your left leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Rounding your spine, chin and knee towards your chest, and press through your palms. And then release. We're going to go ahead and sit and prepare for our boat pose. A pose that uses a lot of core strength, glute strength, quad strength. We're going to take our palms out towards the ceiling. However, you also have the option of taking your hands behind your knee. That's going to create some extra support. Now you're going to notice there might be a tendency to collapse the spine. So you're going to do your best to imagine a cord lifting you up from your chest and from the center of your abdomen. Think about that cord lifting you up as you lift your legs. So you're lengthening your legs as much as you can simultaneously. This is a pose of strength and balance. Hold. And take your hands behind your thighs for extra support and for some lengthening of the spine. It's going to help Relieve some of that strength you're using in the core. Inhale. Exhale, release. Another core workout. Palms up towards the ceiling. Slowly release. Find a point to hover. Your feet can float off the floor. Any shaking is fine. And then drop your heels. Drop your head. Welcome an inhale here. Exhale, side out. Lift your arms up overhead, full body stretch, interlace your fingers, point your toes. Lift your abdomen up towards the ceiling. And release. 5 rounds. We're going to bend our left knee, grab our knee with our hands. Now also flex that right foot. You're pressing up through that right foot. It's going to give you more stability and also activate your core even further. Now, as you're lifting, please tuck your chin towards your chest, making sure you're releasing any tension in the neck and upper back. 5 rounds. Ideally, you're inhaling as you drop your head back, exhaling as you round your spine. And then after that 5th round, lengthen your left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers right behind your thigh. Lengthen your leg. Hold here. Rotate your ankle clockwise or counterclockwise. We tend not to place attention to our heels, balls of our feet, or toes. So take a moment here. You'll notice there's a lot to open up here. You can rotate that ankle clockwise or counterclockwise. Make sure you're not crunching around the shoulders, the upper back. Lengthen your leg. Then start to drop your leg towards the right. And towards the left. So you can shift back and forth here. You'll notice you're opening different parts here of the hamstrings, hips, and glutes, even your lower back. So move back and forth, or if you prefer to remain static and still at any part of this continuum, go ahead and do so. Do breathe into your flexibility, breathe into your boundary. Extra support, flex that right foot towards the front. After a few moments here, start to bend that left knee. And then take your hands over that knee, 1 round, lift your forehead up towards your knee, and then drop your head back. We'll focus now on the right side. Bend your right knee, grab your knee with your hands, flex that left foot, and then lift forehead towards your knee, drop your head back. A total of 5 rounds. And then after those 5 rounds, you start to lengthen that right leg up towards the ceiling. Take a moment here to focus on your heels, your toes, your ankles here. Rotating here, clockwise or counterclockwise. And after a few moments there, focus on your hamstrings. You can lengthen your leg here. And I recommend swaying your leg towards the left, to the right, exploring hips, glutes, lower back, and then finding a point maybe that you want to isolate and focus on. Or you can continue that swaying back and forth. We'll be here a few moments. Deepen into your flexibility. Relax neck and shoulders. After a few breaths there, bend your knee. Cup that knee with your hands around your spine. Forehead towards your knee. And then drop your head back. We're going to bring both soles of the feet together. Hands can frame your hips. Palms facing up towards the ceiling. You can rest your hands on your belly, your chest. You can lift your arms up overhead, backs of the hands on the floor, your head the center of this diamond, elbows bent. You're softening around the hips, releasing any compression around the lower spine. Softening neck and shoulders. Remind yourself of your full deep breath. This is the breath you can go back to any time during your day, your week. Inhale. Exhale, 2 more breaths in your butterfly pose. After those two poses, release. Feet float off the floor, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, hands on your knees. And then grab your feet with your hands. Start to lengthen your legs here. Bend one knee more generously than the other. Rock to the left, to the right. You want to get that final stretch here. Ankles, calves, hamstrings, hips, glutes, lower back, quads. You can experiment here. And then you can start to release. Then shift into your Shavasana, your last resting pose of the class. Our legs are long, palms face up towards the ceiling. You can practice some intentional deep breathing here, or let your breath go back to its regular rhythm, no control of the breath. They both have benefits. Soften your forehead, jaw, neck, shoulders. Scan down the length of your arms to your wrists, palms, and fingertips. Release the upper back, mid back, lower back, hips. Behind your knees, down to your ankles and toes. Notice that this pose teaches us the wisdom of doing nothing. Allow yourself to release, to receive, and integrate physically, mentally, and emotionally.
We'll start to shift attention back to our breath, inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. Restore some movement to your fingertips and toes. You have the option of inviting a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, pointing your toes, and or turning your body to the left or to the right. Return to a generous and a leisurely breath. Then after another breath or two, we'll start to make our way to our seat. Notice that by welcoming your breath, you're welcoming your experience. We lengthen our spine, we draw our shoulder blades down, and then we'll seal the class with an intentional breath cycle. Let's take our hands in front of our heart center. Let's inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. May we walk with each other in gratitude.